Real business owner, real business owner.
Whatever your situation is currently is not your forever situation.
That's really what real business owners is, man. Like, we don't care where you come from, where are you going?
Our goal and our job is to reduce the mistakes that you have to make or the money that you have to lose.
You want to be an entrepreneur, you want to be successful, don't give up.
You learn, adjust, and continue to move forward.
Welcome back to Real Business Owners with myself, Trevor Cowley. This episode is with me and my guy, Corey McNeil. I think that you'll enjoy today's episode. And as always, if you're looking to level up personally or professionally, go to joinrbo.com. Much love. I do want to offer those that are ready a wake-up call. We're, over halfway through the year. There's the summertime where people have family activities. They have vacations. There's a lot of distractions that happen. People get comfortable. They get relaxed, and they're starting to pull back. And momentum, we were talking about that earlier today, how momentum is a real thing. It's either working in your favor or it's working against you. It feels like sometimes everything's coming into alignment and everything's syncing for you, where it feels like three negative things, back to back to back to back, and you're sliding backwards. And so my thing is what could you do to get more control of your own momentum? As we were talking about prior to hopping on, the doom and gloom or the...
To be fair, Trevor doesn't rely on me for news updates, but I'm always coming in, I'm like, hey, did you hear what happened? He's like, no, what? And I like that you are hyper-focused on what you're doing and you don't really let that affect you. I kind of keep one toe in the pool so I can check the temperature. So I'm like, how is this going to impact our members, or like where are we at? So it can kind of help me make decisions or bring stuff to you. But
look, I see stuff. I mean, there's social media, and I mean, my head's not fully in the sand, but I'm not going to go out actively searching for it. I'm not going to follow fear-based accounts. I'm not going to watch the news. I'm just, me being vested into what's going on doesn't serve any purpose for me in regards to what I'm trying to accomplish. Whether the world is doing amazing or it's doing shitty, if I'm allowing my emotions to get tied up in that, then that emotional being is now over here in business, and now I'm living in a fearful state and not going to be able to operate in a manner in which I probably should be operating so that I can carry the momentum that I want to carry, which is necessary for the success that most people want to see, which is why they started a business.
I'm not doomsday. I'm just saying, keep your head up, look at the horizon, make sure you're still doing what you can. But I think now more than ever is a time of just, proceed cautiously. If you're in debt, do what you can to try to get out of debt.
If you're up to your eyeballs in debt and something does happen, live with the fucking consequence. You put yourself there. It's called a choice, right? And so it's like, why wouldn't you live in a certain manner that's conducive to some sort of security, which is why you started what you started in the first place. So you say, I want to start a business so that I can live like other people can't. In other words, so that I can have financial security. So what you're really looking for, you want the cool house, the car, whatever. That's all fine and dandy. But most people are willing to exchange that pain and suffering that's required to be successful in business, because what you really want is true financial security. And then you got lost in the process and succumb to the shiny shit, right? The materialistic shit, because you felt invincible. So money made you believe that it's going to continue to happen like this forever. So in other words, when the market's good, 22 and stimulus checks and everybody's winning, it went to fucking a lot of people's ego. Nobody really likes to think like, well, what if this is temporary? And again, that could be...
Or what if you got lucky?
What if you got... nobody wants to think like that, because again, you could say, well, that's scarcity mindset. What if it does, what if it... The question is, regardless if it does or doesn't, are you utilizing the money that was brought in a way that creates a low risk tolerance, right? Even if they look risky to other people, because your situation is okay. So in other words, the risk even though to somebody investing $250,000 might be a high risk to them, to me, the risk that's very low to me, because that's low risk.
What can they take from you right now?
What can they take? If that is gone and I own everything that I have, So what I'm doing is I'm giving myself the ability to honor what I should be doing, which is taking risks, right? Continuing to create a higher level of security for myself, but not necessarily putting what I have available to me. In other words, the things that I have paid for my family, for their security, at risk. I'm of the mindset that it's like, go as fast as you fucking can for as long as you fucking can, and push the limits and push the boundaries and scale and force growth. Like everything around here, I'm like, dude, we need to spend more money. Let's spend more money. Like, I don't care if we need to spend $10,000 a month in ads. Like, I don't.
Well, when we're paying for the lease in here, you're like, no, let's just prepay it a whole year. And I'm like, what are you doing? Cash is our greatest asset. You're like, I don't like that.
I don't.
It's been a hard that one. I'm telling you, still, it's just like I scratch my head. You've been right. I give you credit for that, 100%.
So I don't like debt, but
then the cash coming in, you're like, oh no, I got this. It's already covered. Like, I know what my P&L
now
statement
we could
is.
push.
Yeah, I get it
because the overhead's not high.
Yeah.
Right. So if the overhead's not high, and you have an opportunity to create momentum or gain, guess what? If there is a bubble over or thing, guess what's going to be one of the most useful things for an entrepreneur?
Their credit, cash,
having access to a network of individuals that have different perspectives than them and that have tools, softwares, resources that could be available to that person. You hear successful people talk all the time. You can take all my money, just keep my contacts in my phone. And if I keep my contacts, then I will rebuild something. Like, that is more valuable to me than the money that's in the bank account. So the question is if you're operating a business and you don't have access to a community of people, in other words, resources, and you put yourself on an island because you are holding on to every single dollar, you're putting yourself in a terrible position because you're going to be left on an island struggling by yourself with one perspective, and that's a perspective of somebody that's struggling in a scarcity fear mindset. So now you're in deep, deep shit. And so what are you doing, again, to create momentum? Mm-hmm. Right? Like, are you putting yourself around the right type of people? Do you have the right resources? Where are you spending your money? Like, when you're investing into masterminds and networking, what you're doing is you're investing into some form of security, if you ask me, because the resources that are available. Like, we're talking about building a completely different business with somebody was found where?
In the network.
In the network.
Yeah.
And so we have this resource that we found in our mastermind, and he has the ability to benefit and win from it also.
Well, 60-day credit repair, where did that come from?
Networking.
What about the creation of the ads for 60-day credit repair?
Networking.
Yeah. I get on a call with a lot of people, so people, typically if you call in to talk to us about the mastermind, you'll talk to me. And part of that thing is I explain to them, like, yes. In fact, the last one, that guy is like, hey, I want to talk to you. What was that text message you got? Or the video is like, hey, I'm sure you guys have some sort of program or something, but I really want to just network with people or whatever. I can't say that more plainly, is that I'm like, yes, we have guest speakers who get on our Zoom calls, and absolutely they bring value. You've got access to me, and I can help you as far as like your marketing or whatever. But none of this stuff, all that stuff you can find on YouTube, right? But you can't replace the human being.
You can't.
That makes an introduction to another human being, that opens a door for you, that creates an opportunity that you get a windfall from.
How are you going to create a relationship watching a YouTube video? You can get information, but again, the information is being digested into one perspective. And guess what? Your perspective is biased based upon everything that you've ever gone through and all the information that you've digested and how you've grown up, and, probably some of your self-imposed limitations, things like that. So you're digesting information, and in most cases when people are doing it, they're, being, I would call it using selective application. So if it rings true to the version of them that they are right then, like, oh yeah, that sounds good to me, I think I should try that. And then they disregard some of the other information that they don't think is true to them, maybe that version of you that's watching that video isn't the one that's going to get it done. In other words, be successful. So your selective application isn't going to work because your perspective is the one that created the problem. Your perspective is the reason why you originally went to seek out new information so that you would have the ability to do what? Maybe get a different perspective. And then when you go into that, using selective application, all you're doing is pulling out the information that the version of you that you are today think is relevant to you, which is the very problem that you're dealing with.
That got you where you're at.
You use your selective application probably all over the place. Well, I can't do that because that's for other people. I probably can't see that level of success because that's meant for other people. Well, that probably works for them and their business, but it won't work for me and mine. Oh, well, their industry's a little bit different. Oh, well, I can see where I could use this. So selective application is people's biggest problem. Mm-hmm. And so when I hear somebody saying that, hey, I don't know if I want to make an investment and join a network group or, be a part of a mastermind, that's the version of you that isn't getting it done that's making the decision again.
Dude, let me ask you this, and I don't know if publicly you want to go this far. I would actually don't. Yeah, I still want to hear that one. How long has 60-day credit been around for? Credit repair? 4 years?
2000, yeah, 19 or 20, somewhere around there. Yeah.
What would you guess gross sales volume?
Annually? Or
yeah, because then we'll just
4 million.
Okay. And that's since then?
No, per year.
Per year? Okay, but
yes.
And that was how many years? 5 years?
4 or 5 years, yeah.
So 20, maybe even $25 million.
No, 5 times 4 is
20. Yeah, but I'm saying, okay. But like, my point is, when you were looking at joining Arte, what was the annual?
$6,000 a month.
Okay. Do you remember what my response was? It's like, don't do it. Just give me the spend on Google.
Yeah.
Because why were we doing this was to drive leads to the accounting company.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, that's a waste of money. I didn't understand that whole concept. Like people, and I'm telling you, I'm as guilty as anybody on it, but the idea of marketing is you either do SEO, you build a website, you send out an email, you do an ad, maybe post some Instagram reels, you throw it out and hope the world likes it. But the other side of it is to go out to these events, go out to these networks, go join these masterminds, where it allows you to meet individuals who have a certain skill set, they have a certain, like their contact list, and then that's just one facet of that. And from there, actually, all this other stuff, the podcast, what you guys are listening to, all was born from that, right? So when you actually, if you had to look at the total gross revenue across all platforms, that number would be pretty scary, on what that number would look like.
Impact revenue-wise across
all platforms, yeah, across all companies. And from 60-day came another business, and it's pretty monumental. But the problem is when I try to explain that to people on the phone, they're like, okay, tell me about your course or your program or what. I'm like, we don't. It's a community. Like that's what. Yes, we have that. We have Zoom calls. We have speakers, and they bring fire, and they're educational. And you ask me, I'll help you do whatever you need to do. You're missing the point. The value is in the network. The value is in the people.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like he gets it.
Play that for a second.
Hey man, just wanted to reach back out and say, hey, I did have a couple questions. I was looking into you guys. I was curious exactly what you guys did. I'm sure you guys do have programs involving scaling up your business. I was really interested mainly in just networking, just meeting a lot of other people that I can just anywhere and everywhere that I can just talk to. Yeah.
Dude, that right there,
that's a smart dude.
It is a smart dude. I do believe you have a gift for investing in people and building them up. And, let's take, for example, like a client, like not necessarily role playing, but like if somebody comes in and they want to join the mastermind, is it just cut and dry? This is what the price is, or,
No.
right?
No. That's what everybody else does. So either we're just like everybody else, or we're actually doing what we say that we're trying to do, which is build something that's unique and different. And when you're trying to build something that's unique and different, you will not win year 1, year 2. Unique and different is a long-term play, because it takes time for somebody to tell another person, man, there's something different. And then it hits another, man, there's something different. That's a kind of a slower spread.
The most common phrase I hear.
That is the most common phrase
within our group
that I hear as well. And it's cool to hear that we're doing exactly what we had hoped we could do. But at the end of the day, I'm guilty of wanting more, faster, quicker. Just as I said, let's throw ad spend. That doesn't mean we're going to allow anybody and everybody in, but we can get more qualified people at our doorstep. And to me, that means we can help more people be in an environment that is what? Different. And if you're in a different environment that's unique, guess what's going to happen? Different things are going to happen to you. Mm-hmm. In other words, you're going to start thinking different. Then you're going to start acting different. You're going to have unique and different ideas for your business. And all of these little teeny things end up adding up. And then in a year, 2 years, you look back and you're a completely different person.
I will say this part, like, I am definitely a different person. Like,
when you're around people that's doing better, it makes you want to be better.
I remember walking around for probably first 18 months, 24 months, being like, okay, like, this has got to be on a reality show somewhere. Like, this isn't real. People just, they don't do this. And super lucky, man. I happened through the right, it was a network that introduced me to you.
Yeah.
And like that connection.
Not a YouTube video.
It came in at the right time, at the right place. But more importantly, I was actually prepared and I was ready. I was like, okay, I need to move on. Like, this isn't going to get me where I want to go. I was still kind of coming through a lot of like past conditioning and my own bullshit, my own baggage and my own life stories and all that kind of stuff.
Are you around people that are brainwashing you in a positive way to make you believe in yourself, make you understand that there is a higher level or version of yourself that does exist? Because it does exist in 100% of people. The sad thing is there's a minority of people that actually give the effort to try to extract it. And so for me, it was being very diligent about the information that went in terms of repetition. Right? And so if I put on a certain message over and over and over, it's going to get to the point where it hits my subconscious. Just like me singing a song that hits the radio that I have no business singing. Whether it's a Celine Dion, some bullshit that I wouldn't even care to ever sing that. I don't ever even want to know those lyrics. But what happens is with repetition, your brain says, wow, I've heard this a lot over and over. It must be important. So therefore, it starts retaining information and it starts backlogging it. The problem is it takes so long for it to backlog and sink deep into the subconscious that most people won't put in the repetitions in order to see that back end benefit of it. But I believe that people can change just solely based upon the information that they put into their brain every single day. I believe that. And if somebody put the same 30-minute positive message that made you believe in yourself more so than you currently do, I think in 2 years from now, you will have a higher belief in yourself. I just believe that. But the problem is some days it just feels dumb because it's repetitive. It's not working. I'm 6 months in. I don't really feel like I've changed that much. And so I will tell you that I'm a completely different person from the individual that I was 6 or 7 years ago when I started putting myself around these
Well,
networking
I
groups
saw the
or
transformation,
masterminds.
dude. I saw that. That's when I was like, okay, there might be something to this.
Make sure that you have access to a group of individuals that are uplifting, that are supportive, that have resources, that have perspectives that you don't have. Brainwash yourself in a manner in which will produce the result that you want long term. If you want to be more positive and you want to stop being angry, resentful, hurtful towards other people, living in a scarcity or fearful mindset, what's the information that would have to go into your brain repetitively in order for you to change that? Because there was information that went into your brain repetitively in order to create that. So we now have to unwind that. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Please support your RBO family by rating and reviewing the show and sharing the show with somebody that you love and care about. As always, keep kicking ass, guys. We'll see you next week.